zu haben. Wir brauchen ganz unbedingt Bilder, die mit unserem Zivilisationsstand und mit unserem Inneren allertiefsten übereinstimmen. Und da muss man eben dann notfalls auch mitten in den Krieg hineingehen oder wo auch immer es notwendig sein sollte. Weil es nicht mehr leicht ist, hier auf dieser Erde das zu finden, was die Durchsichtigkeit von Bildern ausmacht. Das, was mal gewesen ist. Und ich würde überall hingehen.
Werner Herzog Eats His Shoe, a short documentary by Les Blanc dating back to 1980. The legendary filmmaker goes about with the execution of the bet he made to his friend, another filmmaker. In his urge and persistence, Herzog bet his friend that if the friend were to go about and finish the film he was trying to make, that Herzog would eat his own shoe in celebration. Fortunately for the audience and unfortunately for Herzog, the friend made the film and we, the audience of the world, received a timeless visual piece, signifying commitment and love for one's art form. The rest of the film is self-explanatory, and thanks to the times we live in, one can marvel at these rare and peculiar images. What sticks with the viewer once the images of a German boot submerged in sauce and garnished with garlic cloves fades away are Herzog's thoughts on images and the value they held. The invention of cameras, sound capture devices, lenses, film, initiated a visual world we take for granted today. One cannot but notice the stark differences between the early days that drove filmmakers like Herzog to dedicate their lives being soldiers of cinema and the visual spectacle, as compared to the present, where creation and collection of the visual medium is a chore assigned to machines. Once the zenith of human creativity to it, becoming an excess flow of mind-numbing messages. Our daily lives are flooded with visual indicators in the form of perspectives, stories, directions, and narratives that shape our lives.
You're a workaholic?
I'm glad you brought that up.
If you switch on television, it's just ridiculous and it's destructive. It kills us, and talk shows will kill us. They kill our language. So we have to declare holy war against what we see every single day on television, commercials, and I think there should be real war against commercials, real war against talk shows, real war against Bonanza and Rawhide or all these things.
Herzog started out as a soldier of cinema in a world where studios had begun formalizing templates of films and newsreels continuing to cement fabricated beliefs. Mesmerized by the power of the image, I'm sure he sought to use it as a tool for enlightenment. In the same short film, he urges the need for adequate images, a global need like the need for new sources of energy and sustenance. Hearing Herzog describe the state of media in the 1980s, one realizes that to some degree, he and filmmakers alike have been fighting the same war. The war against the abusive use of image. The advent of the printing press made knowledge more accessible. Learning, know-how, did not rest in the hands of a select few any longer. Doesn't AI image generation or the easily available image capture technology offer the same conundrum? A conundrum of, if everyone can have it, shouldn't everyone be allowed to do what they want with this power? Should there be an intellectual or moral police proceeding over what moving images are allowed to convey? When the human psyche is bombarded with so many images and messages, is it a source of enlightenment or excess? When Werner Herzog spoke of adequate images, he was referring to the power of the visual medium. Images can capture truth, authenticity, and invoke profound meaning. In a time when cameras were limited, images were precious, each one carefully constructed, laden with significance. But today, we live in a world where images are no longer rare. They are ubiquitous. I still remember as a child the covers of National Geographic magazine, Time magazine, were a subject of marvel. I still have the Afghan girl's eyes imprinted in my mind. The rarity or value of that image diffused with time in my mind as I saw more, lived more. But as a school-going young boy with most of his life in the same city, it was a window to a world I had never seen or may never visit. Millennials might also remember the New York Times image of the starving African child struggling inches away from a vulture waiting for him to perish. This image expresses the plight of the Sudanese famine without a single noise or word uttered. What happens to our human ability to connect humanity toward one cause with the help of a single image? Can AI do that? Is it flawed of us to expect machines to replace our gaze or perspectives? One wonders. The French term mise en scène, borrowed from their thought behind stage design and French theatre, emphasized what is put into each frame of the film. The intention was to encapsulate the essence of the moment or the moment itself into every single frame. These learnings don't vanish. They are passed down to our mechanical heirs. But what happens to the art of capturing the soul of the moment? In the flood of visual noise, it's easy to forget that some images carry the potential to transform our perspective, to spark awe. As much as one is tempted by the jaded perspective, I wish to be escorted by optimism into this new world. The saturation of visual forms is subtly redefining how we perceive and communicate through images. Thanks to social media, digital news, online entertainment, our storytelling muscle is evolving. An evolution whose direction is yet to be determined or understood, but unique nonetheless. For one, the visual language is far more global. Easy access to world cinema since the early 2000s opened up our view of the world. What if Herzog was fighting the wrong war? What if the human journey, starting with stories around the campfires, paintings on walls evolving to TikTok videos on handheld devices, are just part of our evolution? The tools have transformed, but the instinct remains the same. Our enduring need to witness, communicate, and be acknowledged lives on. We tend to forget that all evolution is messy. It is an accumulation of trials and errors. One takes solace that perhaps today's endless scroll and fractured attention is not the destination, but another imperfect experiment in our journey to find structure and perspective with visual forms. The death of every existent form leads to its rebirth, making way for new ways of telling stories that speak more deeply to who we become. Either way, Godspeed to the likes of Werner Herzog for attempting to shake the world from its slumber, for fighting for their beliefs, capturing and creating images that stay with the world.